Good day, everyone. This is Pineleaf Needles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and here at DDO Players. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Everything's going all right here. So let's find out what's going on in the news for the game. And there was a question about server mergers.
There was, and I kind of had to laugh because the thread title was Time to Merge the Servers. Let's beat this dead horse again. I kind of had to laugh about that. I thought it was funny. Yes, it has been brought up several times that several players think it's time for maybe some server merges. And kind of deep into that thread, Severlin, the executive producer, did chime in, and he says, I will quote him here, "We plan on revisiting the idea of server merges after we've moved to the new data center, which is slated for sometime in the new year. We want to make sure we have lag under control before we concentrate the player. We recently made some fairly large changes to help combat lag, particularly in the storm horns and other places where monsters can use persistent AoE effects. We haven't heard any feedback that the lag is reduced, but the nature of that beast is we only hear about it when the lag is bad. There are some obstacles to overcome, like making sure shared storage in the guild move over, and players have good tools to deal with the name collisions for both characters and guilds." And then Cordovan also chimed in as well. DDO Central, actually in the forums, posted, "Should the new data center host with better hardware reduce lag significantly?" And Cordovan answered that with, "We do expect and hope that moving our operations to the new data center will have some improvement on game performance. Quantifying that improvement in terms of, quote, small, end quote, significant, end quote, huge, etc. is probably best done when we actually see the result."
Now that's called being cautious.
You would think new and better hardware, better data center, better connection to the backbone, it would help lag, you would think?
Well, it probably depends on what the source of the lag is.
Well, that's true, too. I guess there is several sources of it, and it's not necessarily related to the hardware or backbone issues. So
yeah,
that is correct.
Ones related to those items, yeah, it might reduce those, but there are all sorts of fun little things you're going, because it could be because of the distance from where. Oh, that's right. It'd probably be closer to most people. But if you're having a lot of lag and you live in Boston, then it's not the distance for the data center. All right, now there is this question about Epic Destiny Pass coming up, and what's that all about?
1 second, got distracted by the chat room, and hang on, we're going to have a special unplanned guest here.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, there he is.
Hello.
Hey, appreciate you letting me on.
And of course, that is the voice of Community Manager Cordovan. He is here live in the flesh.
Yeah, thank you very much. Really appreciate being able to be on your show. I'm here to shut you down. I'm sorry that you guys have just said far too many secrets.
We haven't gotten to that part of the show yet.
Okay.
I haven't even played our interview from yesterday where you did tell some secrets. So.
Yeah, I did, actually. Right.
Do you want to add anything about the server merge and the lag effect, since we're on that subject right now?
Not particularly. I think Sev's statement stands on its own. It's something we're going to be looking at after the move to the new data center. If we give it a green light, it's going to be a fair amount of work to figure out things like guild airships and guild renames and stuff. There's the TR caches. There's just things that are involved in a mass scale sort of consolidation that would need to be addressed. Over on the Lotro side, they recently went through a similar process, and so we might be able to learn a bit from what they did over there in terms of maybe creating some kind of item that would consolidate, move with you, you'd open it up, and then it would repopulate. But, we haven't done that development work, so it would take some amount of effort to do that.
Yeah, I know. I've been moving characters all over the place in Lotro lately.
Yep, but really that's about all there is to say about the server merge. We've been hearing it for a while, and it's not something that we take lightly by any means. It's just that we know it will, if we decide to pursue it, it's going to not be as easy as just sort of say, okay, everyone go to the other server now, because since we had our consolidation in, 2008, a lot of things have been added to the game, including things like, reincarnation, so.
DDO Central in the chat is saying, has Lotro experienced a surge in population since the server mergers? The same thing could happen with DDO.
I don't know. I work over on the DDO side of things. You need to ask Freelorn that, but I don't. I haven't heard anything. So,
Pineleaf just happens to be on a Lotro podcast, Lotro Players News, which is our sister show. Mm-hmm. So, Pineleaf, can you add anything to that question or answer that question?
What, or if there's a change in overall population?
Right. Yeah. Just like from what you've seen as a player, of course, we would have to Cordovan said we'd actually have to get with Freelorn to find out the official turbine response, but
well, let me tell you, we're probably not going to tell you about that.
Well, see, I was kind of being nice about saying it,
but to be honest, I haven't heard anything either way, and as far as I know, I haven't seen anyone on the forums over there, say something either positively or negatively in regard to, say, population growth over time. Maybe you've seen something I haven't, but my understanding is it hasn't had a negative effect, that's for sure. And if anything, it's just made it easier for people to play with friends. But, again, I'll leave that up to people who know more.
You want to add anything?
Right. Since I haven't changed my circles all that much during the move, so therefore... But some people who do a lot of pugging and stuff like that, they're the ones who are most likely to know about such things. All right, are we ready to head on into the Epic Destiny Pass?
We can do that. There was a thread in the forums as well asking if Epic Destinies were going to get looked at, and Severlin did respond in that one as well, and he said the Epic Destiny balance is on our long-term radar, and then he quantifies that by saying in a good way, not in an ominous way.
What would be an ominous way?
I don't know.
I took that to mean the long-term radar, so it's on the radar, but don't look for it anytime soon.
This isn't directly related to Epic Destinies, but I started work today to put together our Update 29 release notes. And as part of the level cap increase to level 30, we're going to have some new feats that will be available based on what Epic Destinies you have maxed out. If you have all the Destinies in a sphere maxed out, depending on the combination of things, some feats at the upper end of the game will unlock for you. And I was putting together that list today, which players will hopefully see pretty soon. So I guess that's kind of Epic Destiny related news. It's really more feat news, but it's based on Epic Destinies, so.
But I guess it's good that it's on. You guys do know that some of the Epic Destinies do need some work, and you're planning on working on them. Just don't look for it anytime soon. Is how I took that.
Right. At the moment we've been working on finishing out all the enhancements. We're doing the class revamps that are largely enhancement focused. We've got the level cap increase happening. There's a bunch of things that need to happen before we would have time to focus on adding new Epic Destinies. So I don't really know quite what the timeline would be on adding new Epic Destinies. But I'd say it's more likely we would get to tweaking existing ones before we'd be adding new ones. Although if you ask Sealstar, we're going to, he really wants to have an Artificer one, so who knows?
Well, maybe someday I'll actually get a character up to epic levels and be able to see what these Epic Destinies are all about.
Hey, we're getting close with your Artificer, Pineleaf.
I suppose you got a point there.
Won't be too long.
All right, then let's head into legendary raids and bypass timers. And I was reading this and saying, I guess because I don't do raids.
Nice non-controversial topic that, just sort of threw it out forums
right.
Today. I figured out what the heck,
Need to shake things up every now and again. You want to go ahead, since you're here, you just want to go ahead and talk about this?
Sure. So one of the things we've been hearing from the community for several years now, particularly our raiding community, particularly our hardcore raiding community, is that the number of raid timer bypasses that are in the economy is such that it has had a detrimental effect on the raiding scene. Some of that is due to the duplication exploits that we had in the past, and some of that is due to us sort of handing them out like candy unintentionally. Well, kind of semi-intentionally. I guess we made a mistake there, right? on the 8th anniversary card event, and at some point they were lower in daily dice than they should have been as well. So the ability to flood the economy with these things were fairly high in recent years. And what that's led to is a situation where we'll come out with a new raid, like, say, Defiler of the Just, and some of the most passionate raiders will sort of run it like a Netflix marathon, you know? They just go raid after raid after raid after raid after raid, get into, say, level, get their 20 raids or whatever it is, get their loot, and then move on to whatever else they're going to do. And so what we hear is from people who don't do that, say, I'm having some tough times getting people to join my raids. And then we hear from these raiders who, after the fact, want to get back into raiding and saying, oh, the raid's dead. You know, it's whatever, you know? So, and on top of that, there's you know, some business issues with, because DDO, or the raid timer bypasses were in the DDO store. Clearly, they're not making us a lot of money nowadays. But at one point, they were something that we were hoping to you know, raise some revenue from. And so what it came down to is we're planning to do a whole bunch of legendary content, you know, CR 31 plus here, starting with update 29. That includes 3 raids: legendary Tempest Spine, legendary Hound of Zoriat, and legendary Shroud, with our new legendary Green Steel that's going to be coming out. And we were very concerned that if we were to just sort of roll with things as they currently would be, these raids would come out, Shroud in particular. All of a sudden, those who were interested would just use their stacks of raid timer bypasses. We'd have kind of we'd burn through it too quickly, frankly. And it would have a detrimental effect on people's ability to earn legendary green steel over a longer term. You know, heroic green steel has historically, and even to some extent still today, kept people running the Shroud for quite a long time. And we do want people to enjoy this new content. On top of that, we need to be able to be in a position where, from a development standpoint, it makes sense to continue working on raids. And if we basically have 1 or 2 weekends of prime raiding and then nothing, well, then maybe we should have spent that time doing something else, right? So what we're going to do here with update 29 is have legendary raid bypass timers. What those are going to do is allow you to do the regular raid bypass, timer bypass. You'll be able to get them from silver and gold daily dice. You'll be able to find them very rarely, but you will be able to find them in chests, and then they will also be available for sale in the DDO store. The current raid timer bypasses that you have, for whatever method you got, and not everyone duped them, right? I mean, I know on the forums that may be, well, okay, let's be honest. That was a big concern, but that's not the only reason people have large stacks of them. You know, the card event and just auction houses and what have you. People are sitting on a large stack of these things in a lot of cases. They can still use them for all the current raids that are available today. Every one of the heroic raids, every one of the epic raids, the raid timer bypasses are going to work just as they always have. It's just that for our new legendary raids going forward, so CR 31 plus raids going forward, you're going to need a legendary raid timer bypass if you want to bypass that 3-day raid timer. You can also do what people did before raid timer bypasses and just roll through a bunch of alts, you know, and that's cool too. We have no problem with that, really. So, but it's a pretty big change, and it was not one that we took lightly at all. But we've been having a lot of serious discussions internally following, like I said, at least a year's worth of heavy feedback from the community that do something. You know, we need to take care of this big issue in the raiding scene. And people have various opinions on it. There are some who said, well, maybe we should have some kind of timing mechanism on heroic or the current raid timer bypasses. Some people said, well, we should just get rid of all of them and just make people run raids every 3 days or whatever. But we didn't want to do that. We wanted to keep the current functionality of the raid timer bypasses as they are today. And so we've done that. You know, nothing is going to change with the way your current raid timer bypasses work. It's just that for our future legendary level raids, you're going to need a legendary raid timer bypass.
And it looked like overall this was positively received. I mean, I did see a few people that were not happy about this, but I think overall this is the best way to handle it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not a big, huge raider, but this makes sense to me the way you're doing it and why you're doing it.
I try, especially this early on in the discussion, let's just happen this afternoon, to try to not make any sort of opinion-based statement about how people are reacting.
Right. Yeah.
But, I'd rather just sort of put it out there and let some time go by and then see what people say about it. But it's good to hear that you feel that overall it's been positively received. I mean, certainly on the forums, it's always been a controversial topic, and it will remain so for the foreseeable future. So we didn't post this as everyone was going to agree with us on it, but we wanted to have that discussion before we brought this stuff out on Lemania, because we didn't want our Lemania preview cycles to get bogged down in this debate. We'd rather people talking to us about the content and the feats and the named items and all the rest. And so we wanted to get this sort of out now, get it separated, and have that full discussion that we know the community is going to want to have on it.
And we will
know that some members of the community are going to talk about during the Lemania testing anyway.
Well, and that's fine. As it relates to Lemania, that's fine. We just sometimes if you don't do this, our first preview weekend, for example, that would be the main topic. What we'd really prefer is that if you're going to be on Lemania, we want you to run, with current thinking is maybe something like Epic Hound, Epic Tempest Spine, level 30, new feats, maybe some new items. I don't know. We got a whole bunch of things that we're planning to get on, and ask me in 24 hours how much of it makes it in, but something like that.
And we will have that thread linked in the show notes on this topic, so you can go and peruse the full thread in the forums and make your own opinion on it and how the community is reacting.
All right, then. After that legendary discussion, we'll go to...
It wasn't really a discussion, though. It was mostly just me talking.
Yeah.
You guys need to start slamming the table and say, you're wrong! I can take it.
All right. Well, there is not going to be a booth at PAX East. Oh, well.
Correct. Yeah. We weren't around last year either. Last year DDO didn't have a physical presence at PAX East on the show floor. The way we've done it both for Lotru and DDO at PAX Prime and PAX East and Gen Con and that is it's almost more like a guerrilla presence. I will load my bag full of as much swag as I can carry. I will go around looking for DDO shirts. People will PM me through the forums and that's saying, hey, I'm going to PAX East. Could we hang out? I want to talk to Varguil, like that sort of thing. And we'll make that happen. But we're doing that in lieu of spending a not insignificant amount of money to pay for a booth presence on the show floor. It just financially doesn't make sense for us to be doing that right now. We did it for Infinite Crisis last year and the year before because that was a game that's coming out. And that's not to say that we won't have any sort of booth in the future. I mean, we've got a full mobile slate coming. Plus, I am pretty sure WB Games I don't actually know what they're doing. But we're a part of WB Games, and it would not surprise me at all if there was a WB Games booth there that we'll find out about in the next month or so. But in terms of DDO specifically, now we're not going to be at PAX on the show floor, but we will be there. I will be there, and I will have swag. So if you're a DDO player heading to PAX East, and I'm probably going to actually do some kind of meetup too. I've done that every year to varying degrees of success. Sometimes I'll say, hey, we're going out to, this restaurant or whatever, and whoever shows up. We hang out and have fun.
All right. And when is PAX East?
Sometime in 2016. I don't know. No, I think it's around late April.
Yeah, I want to say it's like the last week of April.
Yeah.
All right.
Bonnie B on the chat is saying stealth gnomes at PAX East.
Oh, there's a pretty good chance gnomes will be out by then. We'll see. Yeah.
All right. And Drac is the one who keeps on asking why gnomes.
That's right. Why gnomes? Don't get it. I'm sorry, folks. Don't get it.
All right. Let's see. And we have special phone hours for the 2015 holiday season. And does that mean that they're going to shut down the phones or what?
Yes. Cold Blue posted on the forums the official 2015 holiday phone hours on 11/25. Phone hours will be adjusted from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. November 26th, phones will be closed. On Christmas Eve, 12/24, phones will be closed. Christmas Day, of course, 12/25. Guess what? Phones are closed. And on New Year's Eve, 12/31, we have adjusted hours from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. And New Year's Day, January 1st of 16, phones are closed. And he ended the little post by wishing everyone a safe and happy holiday season. So,
and hope you don't have a major problem in the game during that time.
Yeah, email. Just do a email in-game support ticket or email, and I guess they'll get to you as soon as they can. But spoiler alert for later in the show, Pineleaf and I got to experience in-game support this last week for the very first time.
Ooh.
So stay tuned to hear how that went.
Stay tuned for that. Yes. All right. Let's head into the Movember.
Cool.
And I heard that somebody here is participating in that.
I am. You can't see my mustache because we're not on video, but it's looking as ugly as usual. I admit I'm not a very good grower o mustache. You know, Tom Selleck I am not. But nonetheless, I do it every year, and it's a really good cause to raise money for testicular cancer, prostate cancer, mental health programs, and physical health programs for primarily men. Some of the programs are, for not just men, but Movember itself has historically been largely a charity raising money for, like I say, testicular and prostate cancer in particular. And this is the third year that I'm raising money for the Movember campaign. The Movember Foundation is a nonprofit 401c, tax deductible organization. And every month in November, they raise money for these causes. Participants like myself start the month off clean shaven. Then over the course of the month, we grow only a mustache, no beard, no nothing else. And, just sort of it's an awareness thing to just sort of say, hey, why are you just growing a mustache? What's wrong with you? Oh, I'm raising money for a good cause, and every year it's been very successful, not just for the organization, but for me in particular working with the DDO community at large. And every year we raise money for some really good causes. So we're doing that again this year.
All right. And Drac, did he just blow the entire interview?
Well, kind of, yes. Except
I thought we were doing this in lieu of the interview.
No, I was still going to play it because you broke some news at the end of it, but that's okay.
Okay.
It's fine.
Unless you want to break the news now live.
I'm going to say, can you probably can't all remember what you told me, can you?
Well, was it about potentially Lamania going live on Thursday?
Yes.
Yeah, that's maybe happening.
Yes.
No, the current plan is if tomorrow night's build is going to be our build that we're going to try to get our first Lamania push from. So today and tomorrow afternoon, the devs basically work their you-know-what's off to get as many check-ins as they can into the build. And then on Tuesday night, we're going to compile that build overnight. Starting on first thing Wednesday morning, our QA teams and that are going to stage it, check it. Assuming everything checks out, we're going to go through the process to get it up on the public preview server. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, if everything goes well and the build doesn't break and what have you, we'll be live probably Thursday late morning. But that's a best case scenario. Typically, when we're doing these Lamania pushes, we want to get as recent a build as we can out to the preview server. And so what that means is you roll the dice a little bit more than you would, say, for a live build. Actually, a lot more than you would, say, for a live build. So it is highly possible that we'll wake up and get into the office Wednesday and someone will say, all right, who checked in this thing with random loot that now broke everything? And then, of course, it wouldn't be live first thing Thursday morning. But, we do have some good experience of getting these builds out. So it could be as soon as Thursday. If it's not Thursday, then it could be Friday. If it's not Friday, it could be Monday, et cetera, et cetera. But within the next couple of days, we'll have our first build out on Lamania.
And that is update 29, correct?
Correct, yes. This is going to be the first of 3 planned updates we're doing for Lamania. This first one is going to be a little more bare bones than some of the other stuff. Like I said, I think we're pretty well set on saying Tempest Spine's going to be in. I think we're going to have Hound of Zoriat in. I know we're going to have level 30 in, and we're going to have a mix of the feats that are either there and you can see them, there and you can take them, there and you can take them except they don't work, there and you can take them and they do work. So there's going to be some early mix of this sort of thing, and this will get polished up in the next couple of builds that we get out to Lamania. But we wanted to get out a early build because, frankly, we have a lot to talk about here. So we wanted to get as much of it that's in a position to be previewed as we could.
What I will do is the interview that I did record with Cordovan yesterday, I will add at the end of the show for anybody that wants to listen to it, because we did go in more in depth about Movember and how you can donate. So I will just play the interview at the end of the show if you want to hear it.
All right, and let me just kick out that URL if possible. That's
sure.
mobro.co/Jerry Snook, mobro.co/JerrysNook. You can also find a link to Team Turbine there. So far, I've personally crossed the $2,000 mark. The Team Turbine has raised about $3,400 and counting. We have a bunch of incentives for the DDO community. Everything from, say, forum titles to custom-made forum avatars to, hey, I'll even hook up with you in-game in your guild, and we'll have fun in your guild airship, and I'll get you some swag from the community loot list. We're also giving away a whole bunch of Turbine points and picks from the community loot list through basically a random drawing at the end of the month. As long as you kick in $5 for the Turbine points, $10 minimum donation for the loot, you're entered into that drawing. Depending on how many people we get, we could actually end up getting everybody something, but we'll have to see how many people individually donate at the end of the month here.
And don't forget, $10,000. The DDO logo is getting shaved into your head.
That's true.
We need $10,000.
Right.
That's all you have to add about a pine leaf is just right.
Some
How
of the
about
crazy things that are
$20,000
done.
and I will go to your house and shave it in your head? Then, no, that's. I don't think that's a good idea.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to the DDO Chronicle, issue 166. And anything exciting in... Oh, boy, what is that thing?
Oh, those are Abishai's pine leaf. My nemesis, the Abishai. I've killed so many of those things.
Well, they can't be your nemesis if you've killed a lot of them.
Well, I kill them all the time. Remember a couple weeks ago I said I completed my monster manual just from running the Devil's Gambit over and over again for the drops?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the things that I keep killing too. We fought them.
Yeah, we fought
Yeah.
it. They just don't stick in my mind as much as they do for yours.
Well, yeah, it's because you don't look at them like every time you play, I guess. So, yes.
Yes.
In the community spotlight of the Chronicle this week, Full Moon Fury is introducing new raiders to the Shroud. Click over for some tips and advice on how to run the Shroud. In the Fansite News section, DDO Cast had a recent episode where they had a chat with a couple of the developers, Steelstar, Knockback, Vargwheel, and community manager Cordovan. Click over and give that a watch or a listen. DDO.
Let me interrupt you briefly by saying we were particularly chatty.
You were very chatty.
Yeah, we got done with that and said, "Ooh, I hope we don't get in trouble come Monday."
Yeah, I was impressed at how much Patrick squeezed out of you guys.
Well, when Severlin's not around and he doesn't show up, we could just sort of say, well, hey, what's he going to do? It's already out there.
When the cat is away, the mice will play. Is that
yeah.
what it is?
No, it was mostly a matter we felt, we want to be as open as we can. So if we can be, we will. So.
But yes, that was a really good interview. So check that out. That was the last episode. I did notice today that the newest episode that was recorded on Saturday is now live, so you want to look for last week's episode to hear that interview with the devs. DDO Gamer is pondering leveling milestones, so check over and check that blog post out. And that's really about it for our Chronicle this week.
I'm sorry. I guess I've been playing too much Loach. When you talk about milestones, I was thinking, well, wait a minute. Why do you need milestones in DDO?
Different type of milestone, Putney.
Different type of milestones, yes. All right.
You play way too much Lotro, finally.
Let's head into the store sales. What's on sale this week? Anything nice?
We have 20% off character slots. Everybody needs more character slots. 20% off questing tools, healing items, spell point potions, and the stat buff potions, all at 20% off in the store. The free sample of the week through the 19th is the Greater Remove Negative Level Potion. Use the coupon code that will be posted in the show notes because it's still a gobbledygook code. And I did listen, Tolero was recently on DDO Cast, and she did say on that episode that they are looking at getting codes back to where they make sense. At least we can pronounce them.
Well, I mean, it has a marketing reason. I mean, if we're trying to put these codes out on, say, newsletters and stuff, it's just a pain.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So we want to get it done as soon as much as you do. Yeah.
Yeah. I take it then that you were as surprised as we were when those codes started coming out.
No. It was known that we were going to launch the store with them that way. Essentially, it's called an alias code. That's sort of a development term. I think Tolero said that there's vanity code is sort of the marketing speak term for it. It basically is almost like the equivalent of a URL redirect if you think about it. So you'll type in, say, Bell 40 for a bell of opening, and it'll go into the store and say, well, what is bell 40? Well, that's a lowercase j, uppercase, all the other stuff, right? And so that technology was not ready to go for the launch of the DDO store. So it's going to be in, fingers crossed here, the next update to the DDO store, which we don't have an ETA to announce yet, but it's something that, both us and Exola are working on.
Another thing I found interesting, she said in that interview on DDOcast too, is they're looking at doing codes or coupons that will only work for VIP as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So that will be kind of interesting to see if what that entails. And Antang is asking, will that be similar for the Lotro store as well then?
I think so. Quartermaster U would be able to confirm that for sure. But my suspicion is, they're doing this update for both stores at the same time. So probably.
All right, let's head into our site news, and our one story on that end is the screenshot of the week. And what does it look like this week?
Our screenshot this week comes from Quijan of the Storm Reach campaign, of course, and he sends a screenshot over, and he says, celebrating our new guild airship over Galanda. And it's a pretty sweet-looking little picture of him standing on their airship. Apparently, their guild got a brand new airship.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like a scene out of Babylon 5.
I'm just jealous because his ship is big and mine is real tiny.
Yeah, no, we got these tiny.
Yeah, we just got these real tiny ships.
Tiny little ugly ships.
Yeah, I want a big guild ship.
Oh well, if you want a big guild ship, you probably need a big guild too.
Well, that would probably help. Yes.
No, you don't need a big.
Well, yes, but how long is it going to take you to get a big guild ship with a small guild?
Yeah, that's true. Well, it depends on whether you're talking about the Plat one or the Astral Shard one. Yeah.
Right. See, I could buy, my guild is at the level now where I could buy a bigger one, but it's Astral Shards. And it's a exuberant amount of Astral Shards. So I'm yeah, that's not going to happen for a while.
Right then. Then let's head into the news beyond DDO. And Fantasy Grounds now offers a free trial. And was it 10 minutes?
It is not 10 minutes. It is 30 days.
Cool.
It is a full version of the Fantasy Grounds software as well. It's not. They did have a demo version previous to this, and it was kind of a, for lack of a better term, neutered version of it. This is like you would get if you bought it. You can use it for 30 days. You can do everything you can do on Fantasy Grounds with the 30-day free trial. And another thing they announced, too, is that the 5e Basic Edition rules and the Wizards of the Coast theme and font extensions are now going to be included for all of the licensed users. So you no longer have to purchase the 5th edition basic rule set in Fantasy Grounds. That will come standard in the license. So you can use it for 30 days, and then after that 30 days, you can choose to stay on if you would like. And they do have monthly subscriptions, or you can just do the lifetime. But the caveat I'm going to put out now is their pricing is kind of steep.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of why they did this 30-day free trial, because there's a lot of talk about the pricing that I've seen in their forums and on a couple other forums. So they're kind of looking at their pricing structure.
Yeah, I've actually not used Fantasy Grounds, largely just because it does have a fairly moderate cost of entry, I mean, my understanding is that not only are they paying for all the licensing, but they're paying for a huge amount of development. So I suspect they've got a pretty large team working on it. It probably costs a bunch of money to do, but still,
There is 4 people working on that team.
Oh, wow. Jeez. Holy moly.
Yeah, so that was surprising to me.
That's 4 very busy people.
Yeah,
it is.
And I think that kind of factors into the price a little bit. And then, like you said, too, the licensing is, I'm sure, astronomical. Because they, of course, as we've talked about before, they are officially licensed and sanctioned by Wizards of the Coast, so they have the official Wizards modules and stuff already included. So
right, and
you got to pay for that somehow.
Yeah, and it's the most recent new ones that they are
correct.
getting very quickly, as Because if they only got the modules 2 or 3 years after their main release, then the licensing fee would probably be a lot less.
Yeah, I don't know. That's all beyond my ability to comment on.
Yeah, I know.
I know that in general, if you're going to pay money for a product, it's probably going to have a stronger user interface and better support and all the rest. Look at like Twitch and difference between, say, Open Broadcaster and XSplit. Open Broadcaster is perfectly acceptable, but XSplit is just easier to use. So, but you pay for it, right? It's kind of a personal choice there. Yeah.
You got a point on that matter. All right, let's then head on to Wizards of the Coast, who hits another Extra Life goal. And what was their goal, and what did they reach?
They wrapped up their Extra Life campaign, and they met their 100K goal. I cannot talk tonight at all. So that was, if they would hit 100K, they were going to release the full-size map that you can find in Sword Coast Adventures, and on Friday they did indeed meet the 100K goal for Extra Life this year. So as promised, they released this map, and it is enormous. It is 10,200 by 6,600 pixels. If you want to break that down, that's 141 by 91 inches. Thing is massive. It's the exact same size as the map that we talked about a couple weeks ago on the artist's site that you can buy. Mike Sheely is the artist that did this map for Wizards, and he had the PDF version and the frame versions that we talked about a couple weeks ago. This file that you can get is the same file as the one that you can buy on his site, but the one on his site looks like it's updated because it looks a little different, and some of the cities and the annotations on the map is different on his version. So I'm assuming, since he's the artist, his version, he has the latest updated version of it, I would guess, since that's why it's different. But so you can either go look at it on the Wizard site, which I have linked, or you can go over, and I linked that as well, and buy a copy to print out or buy the framed version. But this is a pretty amazing map, and if you open this thing up, it's like detailed. You can scroll all the way into it and still see the detail because it's that big.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and yeah.
Yeah, cool. It's a big map, so yeah, it's and as I said when we were talking about the frame one, this would look pretty awesome hanging on your wall, framed, I think.
Yeah, heck yeah.
All right, let me save that and get back to the news.
Proves that later, finally.
Yes, and let's then get to the tabletop, where Games Workshop is to open Specialist Design Studio. And what is this all about?
Yeah, this just came out of nowhere. Games Workshop, who of course is well known for their Warhammer 40K game. They actually
never played it.
They do other games actually than that, but that's pretty much what they're known for. Late last week, they just had a little update on, they have an app that is out where it's kind of similar to the Dragon Plus app that Wizards has. They basically use their app to do some advertisements for new games and keep you up to date on news. And well, they just released this little screen on their app last week that had the heading of Season's Greetings from everyone at Games Workshop. And they go on to say, this holiday season, we have a massive announcement to make. We have just created a new division of Games Workshop to be known as the Specialist Product Design Studio. That is a mouthful. This studio will include Forge, but it will also expand to include so many other projects, ranging from new models and games, as well as they're bringing back many of the favorites, just to name a few. And they go on to list some of those, which is Blood Bowl, which is an amazing game, by the way, Epic Armageddon, Necromandia, Battlefleet Gothic, and many, many more. But if that wasn't enough, they also announced they are going to journey back into Middle-earth with some new products that are going to support Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit as well. And that's all they said about it, and they have released no other news as of yet about this. But we will be sure to post anything that we hear about it. But it's good to see that Games Workshop is going to start doing other stuff other than Warhammer.
Cool.
All right. And also, it looks like the Ghostbusters game that we have is now released. We spoke of this last week, I believe.
We did, but it is now in your friendly local game store, and also Amazon is showing it in stock as well. So,
wait a second, Ghostbusters board game?
Yes, it's brand new.
Rad.
I mean, who doesn't want to be a good...
Who are you going to call? Your local game store.
Yes, it comes with 48 custom minifigures, the 4 Ghostbuster character figures, of course, from the movie, 3 boss figures, which includes Slimer, and the ever-popular Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. The Ecto-1 ambulance is included as well, because everybody wants an Ecto-1. 6 dice, 43 tokens, and 4 player cards. So I linked a little video that Cryptozoic did put up on their site in the article about this, so you can kind of see it and kind of see a little bit of the gameplay. They show some of that, but it's pretty cool. So yeah, this is out and available in, as I said, retail. Most retail stores have it, and it is on Amazon. I kept checking Amazon, and they didn't. They just said it was coming soon, but it's actually shipping now.
And it looks like it's a co-op team game too.
It is, yes. Mm-hmm. So it looks pretty cool.
What's the recommended number of players?
2 to 4.
All right, then. Okay, 2 to 4 players then. Though if you're playing it solo, I guess you could have 2 characters too.
Yeah, you could do it solo.
Yeah, since it is a co-op. Unless, I know there are some co-op games that have hidden information or stuff like that, but this doesn't have...
it didn't look like it did. It basically just looked like you were just a team and you were trying to work together to capture the ghost, so you weren't actually trying to hinder the other players, like a lot of games that say they're co-op but actually aren't really that co-op because it's everybody for themselves. And if you play with my group of friends, that gets very interesting at times.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
That's probably why this game wasn't released back in the 80s, because co-ops weren't very popular back then.
Just saying, when my group of friends and I get together and we play zombies, it gets ugly.
It gets ugly?
That's all I'm going to say.
Uh-huh.
And
with your group of friends, I think you'll play Cutthroat Pandemic.
We probably would.
Cutthroat Pandemic, huh? Yeah.
We probably would.
Yeah.
All right, let's head on then to our week in DDO.
Hey, actually, you know what, though? Can I interrupt you for a second? I have a bit of minor tabletop news. There's a local Massachusetts company called Wormwood, and they recently, just the last couple of days, wrapped up their successful Kickstarter for the Wormwood Hero Vault. And it's basically these fancy wood vaults that you can stick your minis in. It's a little bit, along the same quality lines as that book thing you were talking about the other day. And I just happened to join their Kickstarter, and I know they're a local Massachusetts company, and it's pretty cool-looking stuff. So if you're looking for a good mini for, like, the holidays or whatever, that might be something you want to look at, too.
Excellent. I'm just looking at that link that you put in our chat, and I will have to do an article on this, because this does look pretty amazing, actually.
But you said it's finished?
Yeah, the Kickstarter's finished, so you'd have to go through their, typical storefront in order to get it. But, those dudes just do incredible work. You see them at PAX East, and I don't know if they've been at Gen Con. They've been at local gaming conventions and things like that. And they just do really, really nice, kind of high-quality, handcrafted stuff.
And Mock Taskmaster in the chat is saying, yes, those Wormwood guys do put out great products.
Yep. I know what I'm getting myself for Christmas. So that's, I like I said, I did the Kickstarter thing, because I've been following them for a long time. But, they tend to have premium products, almost like Geek Chic or something like that. So some of it's a little outside of my price range, but these mini boxes were quite reasonably priced. So I was able to pick one up for myself for Christmas. It's pretty cool.
All right then, Drac, what were you up for this week?
I was on my level 21 Rogue, still at level 21. I did hit 1100 favor, so that was pretty exciting. I'm doing the Inspired Quarter quest. I did the Dream Conspiracy, which that is an interesting quest. That's all I'll say. I won't spoil it because Pine Leaf hasn't done it yet, but it's an interesting quest line. I am enjoying the heck out of that quest line so far. So, do you know who is the person that wrote that still at Turbine?
Which quest was that again?
The Inspired Quarters. I did Dream Conspiracy is the one I did. Some of the lines that the prisoners say are I was just cracking up.
That's a very good question. I'm not sure if that person's still around or not. That it could be or it could be knockback, but it could be El Dorado. I'm not sure. That was around the transition period, I think. So I'm not sure.
It's great writing, great quest. It's fun. I'm enjoyed it. So I did that. My Shader Kai still at level 17, still doing Devil's Gambit, still not getting dropped. Nobody's shocked at this point about that. I'm not giving up, though. I'm not going to give up until I get that Quiver. I want the Quiver and the Eagle Eye, and then I won't have to do these quests again.
I forgot what was so great about that Quiver that...
Gosh, at this point I did too, because it's just a pipe dream for me.
Because I just summoned my bolts, so therefore the Quiver seems to be counterproductive.
Are you talking about the Quivering Quiver or the Quiver of Alacrity?
The Quivering Quiver and the Devil's Gambit.
Oh, okay, yeah. It basically just puts randomly produces stacks of 20 arrows in your.
You mean the one that I have?
So yeah.
No. That's the one. Hold on, let me look.
Quivering Quiver is the one that I have.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just that it's rather useless for an artificer since I don't want arrows. I want bolts.
Okay. Well, I guess I'd have to look up which quiver it is then.
Yeah.
The other one's from Ascension Chamber, the Quiver of Alacrity. That one's pretty hot, but
hang on, let me look it up. I can't remember now. Oh, it's kind of I've been going for it so much I can't remember. You get it at a Grin and Bear It.
Oh, the Dynamistic Quiver. That's the one that just came out. Yeah. Okay, that gives you a ranged power bonus along with a double shot.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, double shot 5% and the ranged power 2 is what it is.
Yeah.
So yes, that's what I'm really trying to get, and I'm telling you, the RNG just hates me.
Yeah.
Stupid RNG. And then the other thing that I did is with Punleaf, and I will let him talk about that as he always does.
All right, then. Then on my level 17 Artificer with Drac, we did the Druid's Deep. We started out with Outbreak. What broke out was that at the end of the instance, we fought the boss, destroyed the boss, and nothing happened. Okay, where are the monsters? Where's the quest complete? Where is everything?
Yeah, the only thing that we had left was one of the optionals that we didn't read how the optional worked, and so we couldn't actually finish that optional, but that was just the optional. But every time I would try to leave the quest, it would say, the quest is not complete. Are you sure you want to leave? But we killed the boss, so I'm like, I don't know. I think that's really bugged out. So I did in-game support on it, and we didn't have to wait very long. And he took a look, and he said, yeah, it looks like you completed it, and everything is correct. It just didn't trigger the end point. So he had us gather together, and he ended the quest for us.
Yay!
You had all the objectives checked off?
Yes.
Like you had found the infection samples and spoken to the head priest?
Yep. The only thing that we didn't do was the one optional.
Yeah, that's the optional that we failed because whenever we had some pretty bad RNG with the...
Of course we did.
With those, and I didn't realize that we had only one set of the ingredient between us.
Nice.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, the GM, and I didn't write his name down, but he helped us pretty quick, and he said, yeah, it looks like it just didn't complete it for you.
Interesting.
So he pushed it along, and we completed it, and then we moved on, so...
Next thing we did was overgrowth, yes.
Some kind of growth, right?
Yes, overgrowth, yes. Overgrowth, where it looks like a dryad had taken over a house. And then finally we did Thorn Paw. And when we were finishing Thorn Paw, I was having a discussion with Drac, and I finally learned after all these years what this add junk exactly means. Because I guess I had thought that there must have been some items that were considered junk items. You click on that and it adds them. But no, I found out, no, you designate something as junk.
Oh, nice.
So that later, when you want to sell it, you don't have to remember where all this junk is at. You just hit one button and it all...
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
But I had not realized that until Drac came in and told me that during our playthrough. So we have one more quest to do in Druid's Deep, and then we'll be finishing that up. But it looks like
let me just say that if you are running Thorn Paw that has a particularly interesting set of medium armor on it, You get a +5 primal bonus to natural armor, fortification 100%, exceptional fortification 25%, insightful constitution and insightful wisdom, both 3. Now that's in the level 23 version. It scales downward from there, but there's versions, 15, 16, 17, 22, 23, 24, depending on the level you run it at. Also a particularly interesting looking set of armor. Some people have interesting things to say about it. I guess I'll let you look it up on the wiki and come to your own conclusion as to what you think about that armor. But it is a unique looking set of armor in the game.
A unique set of armor, right? Makes you look like a bear. No, all right, let's go.
No, it's I don't know. It's just got like these kind of green things on it. It's a little bit leafy. Strange. Okay. It's a little strange.
Leafy, pine leaf. It's got your name written all over it, buddy.
Well, that depends on what type of leaf it looks like. I mean, if it looks like a broadleaf, then not so much. And I suspect it's most likely broadleaves. So let's go into my ranger, my permadeath ranger, level 4. I ran the finishing touches of the Sharn Syndicate. So I did the Bookbinder Rescue and Come Out and Slay.
Best quest title ever.
Best title ever, right. And on the Bookbinder Rescue, it was a lot easier than it was on some of my earlier characters because Ranger, I was able to bash through the doors a lot faster and be able to get to them before they were killed. I had a lot of trouble with some character classes in that when I get through, by the time I got through the doors, the person I was trying to rescue was already dead. And in the waterworks, I did Ven's Trail, so Class Tunnel Worm and Ven's Fate. And then in the harbor, I finished up with Home Sweet Sewer. So I will be getting ready.
Home Sweet Sewer. Wow, there's a interesting old school quest there.
And with that, I will next be heading over into Chanticleer and going through that. So that should be a real fun bit to see if I survive that, because that's the finishing touches for my 5-level playthrough for each of the classes. And when I finish the Ranger, well, then the road comes. So, Cordovan, you have any highlights?
Not particularly. It has been a rough week for me playing DDO, because I played on the live stream on Wednesday, and on Friday afternoon, I joined on, I guess it was Wednesday night, I went over to Argonessen and hung out with one of the guilds that had donated to me for Movember, so that was just kind of a hangout. I was hoping to get to run with them, do some raiding on Sunday night, but then my computer had some issues. It ended up being a combination of a mysterious internet service outage in my home, combined with my computer trying to do a Windows 10 update.
Oh, fun.
Because come Monday morning, everything just magically started working. But on Sunday night, I was like, what am I doing wrong? So I didn't get to do that. And then on Friday night, I wrapped up, or it was a long pen and paper night. We have an office pen and paper group that meets a couple Fridays a month. And this Friday was our wrap up of a big sort of Baldur's Gate sort of, I wouldn't say a campaign because a campaign's going on, but a big sort of multi-month adventure that we've been doing. And so we ended up going way late into the night on that one, trying to deal with the bombardment. There was a bunch of the Flaming Fist ended up getting corrupted, and they were sending balls of fire into the wide, and we had to try to stop them. So that was quite the epic campaign there. And then Saturday, I ended up having to basically work around the house. Plus, I'm helping a local church here build a shed. So I ended up doing that this weekend as well. So between all that was my DDO time. Just kind of all flittered away.
Ah,
yeah.
All right then. Well, if you would like to help support DDO players, you can go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. And there you'll find rewards, including a mention on DDO Players News, or even be a guest host with us. And did we have any iTunes reviews this week?
We did not.
Oh, all right. Well, we do have a featured comment from Weejon, who says, "Hey folks, thanks for the mention for the website. You don't need the plus 20 hearts for anything. They're just purely a luxury item. If you don't like your character, you can always just get it to 20 and TR it. No matter how bad your build, you can always get it to 20. And for those of us not in the United States, Black Friday, being the day after Thanksgiving, still makes no sense."
You forgot the smiley face after that, though.
Well, yeah.
Smiley faces on the internet are important, Pineley.
That's, well, when you're doing it in voice, I would think that voice inflection should.
Okay. I stand corrected then.
Well, at least is my opinion on the matter, but... All right, so let's then look at emails. We don't have any, but if you would like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@ddoplayers.com, and you can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, DDO Players @DDO Players, Draculetta @Draculetta_72, and Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, and I presume that Turbine has a Twitter also.
Yep, @DDO Unlimited for Dungeons & Dragons Online, @Jerry Snook if for some reason you want to follow me. You can also find us on YouTube. It's youtube.com/Dungeons and Dragons, one long word, no ampersand. And on Twitch at twitch.tv/DDO Stream, also on Facebook at DDO Unlimited.
The Players Alliance has several live shows every single week. On Mondays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time each week, we have DDO Players News. Every other Thursday at 9 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have XP Quest. And on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Locho Players News. And on every other Saturday after Locho Players News, we have Tales of the Free Folk. And you can join us for our live shows at ddoplayers.com/live. Well, any closing thoughts, Cordovan?
Oh, just want to thank everyone for the donations this Movember, and we are going through the end of the month. There's still plenty of time to get in a donation if you are interested. It does go for a good cause. And if you want to find out more about, like, say, what's funded specifically and how the financials break down, you can find all that information on Movember.com. They're very transparent about where the money goes and how it's spent. Otherwise, like I said, we're looking forward to Update 29 on Lamania here. We're kicking off a big cycle. Update 29 is going to be a huge update, probably our biggest end-of-the-year update we've ever done. What were we thinking? But nonetheless, it's going to be pretty awesome. So stay with us for the next couple of weeks. We'll be having some previews. I'm sure we'll end up having a chat with you guys here fairly soon as we get a little bit closer to it and all that.
And if you want more details on the Movember interview that Drac had with Cordovan, you could stick around after the show and listen to the interview in full. But for our main show, that is all for tonight, and this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to quest responsibly.
Hey, it is Drac from DDO Players, and I am here with Community Manager Cordovan.
Hello, thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for taking some time out. We are recording this on a Sunday afternoon, so I appreciate you giving up a little bit of your afternoon.
Post-leaf raking.
Well, hey, then I guess you probably don't mind sitting at a computer then.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, lovely fall weather and leaf work.
Yeah, it's, I work all week, and then I work all weekend around the house doing
Exactly.
artwork and stuff, and I was just like, hey, what happened to my game time?
It could be worse, though. It could be snow shoveling or snow blowing. So
That's true. Well, especially out on the tip of the East Coast here, it gets dark so early. It's just, you kind of have to fight the sun if you want to do yard work, so...
But the real reason we are here today is to talk about Movember.
Mm-hmm.
And first off, you can just start off if you would just tell us a little bit exactly what is Movember.
Movember is a international nonprofit called the Movember Foundation. They raise money for men's health programs, particularly testicular cancer research, colon cancer research, mental health programs, and physical activity programs. Predominantly the cancers are what they have done for most of their life, and they've started moving into the realms of mental health and physical activity just because the need is there. So every year around November, they raise money for a whole group of charities and programs and things like that. And you can find the entire list. There's dozens and dozens of groups that get help from their fundraising efforts. And they're real transparent about all that stuff. You can just find it on their website, which is Movember.com. It's kind of I guess you could call it brother charity to what happens in October with breast cancer awareness and fundraising. If October largely raises money for breast cancer awareness, November largely raises money for these men's health programs through the Movember Foundation. I myself have been doing it for 3 years. They've been around longer than that, although I can't exactly remember how long. I suppose I could look it up. But
And how exactly did you get started with doing it, or participating in it, I should say?
So for a long time now, back in the day, Rick Heaton over on the Lotro side, Sapiens, had put together a lot of work for the Child's Play charities through the various, Extra Life program and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so both DDO and Locho had sort of done work for him around that fundraising effort in October. And I wanted to do something on the DDO side as well. And so when I was researching sort of what else we could do, because I mean, I love Extra Life, of course, but, there's a lot of groups out there that could use this assistance, right? So I thought, well, if he's doing that thing, let me find something that might be a little bit different, but would be a good fit. And with our DDO community in particular, the Movember Foundation really seemed like a nice fit because they deal with a lot of cancers that a lot of our audience would be interested in, that may well affect their lives at some point. And so it just kind of, I didn't want to step on the toes of the October fundraising effort either. So doing it in November with Movember just seemed like a natural fit for me.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I know you were doing you have some goals set up and you were giving some, I guess I don't want to call them prizes per se. That's
incentives.
Yeah, incentives. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. You want to explain that a little bit? And it looks like we've met a lot of those goals already.
We have exceeded the goals by more than 3 times.
And that is awesome.
Yeah, right.
Awesome.
I set a $1,000 fundraising goal. That's a personal goal. And we're currently at, for Team Turbine, $3,400. I personally, my account is at $2,000, although a lot of people donate on the DDO side just to the team, right? Because it's not really about me. It's just, which is why I set up Team Turbine, right? So it's just, hey, if you don't want to donate to me, you can donate to the team. If you donate to the team, it's the same as donating to us. Really doesn't matter where the money comes in,
And it all goes for a great cause anyway.
Yeah, exactly right. So we set a $1,000 goal, and we just put together a list of incentives that I can do as a community-approved venture. I can't hand out raid loot or things like that. But what I can do is do forum avatars, forum titles. I have a community loot list, which I guess has been talked about probably in the past. It's the stuff I can give out during events, honorifics, things like that. And so if you donate enough, then I can get you entered into a drawing for a whole bunch of those things. I'm doing, gosh, I can't even think at this point, like 20 drawings for Turbine Point codes and 20 drawings from the community loot list. Also, if you're particularly generous, hey, I'm more than willing to stop by your guild airship, run with you guys. We can just get a raid group going, do some raiding. While I'm there, I'll answer whatever questions you and your guild want to throw at me, that sort of thing. So it's just kind of a good way to pay back people who are particularly generous to this nonprofit organization. They are tax deductible as well, so if that's a concern of yours, it is a way to make a tax deductible donation. But that's basically what it is. I just put together as like, well, what can I do, and what can I give out, and so I do that just to kind of give people incentive to donate if they want to. I find that most people would donate whether I have incentives or not, but it doesn't hurt.
Well, it kind of makes it fun too. You might get a chance to get those turbine points, and everybody needs turbine points. So.
It also was a way, before I started doing the Movember fundraising, things like say forum titles and special avatars and in-game honorifics. They were kind of hard to get because there was only so many of those we gave out there, very limited. And so this was also a way that people who wanted to do that but maybe didn't have the time or energy or whatever to organize big events and run fan sites and that sort of thing. I wanted to give them a shot at getting this stuff too. And so if you're interested, this is a way to do it.
Then we do have the big $10,000 goal.
That actually is, it's been an unofficial official goal for 3 years now. So during the first year, we've been pretty much this successful all 3 years, raised generally between the $2,000 and $3,000 mark. And this year we've actually exceeded that with up to $3,475 is the current total. So, like in the forum threads, I can't remember who it was that said it, but someone, like I said, a couple of years ago said, hey, if we raise 10,000, will you shave the DDO logo in your head? And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. So if for some reason we were to raise $10,000, I would be happy to shave the DDO logo in my head. It would be a minor inconvenience for a large gain. Frankly, odds are pretty far that we're going to hit that goal. I don't mind doing it. If for some reason we were to hit that goal, which would be an amazing thing, then
this
sure,
needs to happen.
I could do
people.
that.
This needs to happen.
Yeah, I'll shave my head all short, and we'll have to figure out. The only thing we haven't figured out, and I've been thinking about this year because we've raised more money than ever, is now when we mean the DDO logo, do we mean like the dragon ampersand, or do we mean the Dungeons and Dragons lettering logo?
Oh, that's a good question. I never thought about that.
I never thought about it either, and we've never actually come close enough that it matters. But should we raise that much money, I'll have to figure out what people actually want me to shave into my head.
I think the ampersand would look cooler.
I think lettering might be tough, right?
Yeah.
So.
I'm not exactly sure how they go about doing that, but yeah, I think the ampersand might be easier and look cooler. But
yeah,
either way, it's a great cause, and everybody should donate regardless of if you do shave that under your head. But this needs to happen, people.
I will say that, you don't have to have deep pockets in order to participate. Even say a $5 donation is extremely generous. I'm not made of money either. I understand. Hey, for me, a $5 donation is not insignificant. On top of that, if you do at least $5, you can be entered in a drawing for these turbine points that we're giving away. Like I say, we're doing at least, let's see, I got like 15, 25, like 30. I'm giving away 30 500 turbine point codes. And then also another 30 picks from the community loot list. So if you donate at least $5, you're entered into the drawing for turbine points. If you do at least $10, you're entered into a drawing from the community loot list. And the way that's going to work is I'm just going to put together a list of every donor and then just random number generate it. Depending on how many people donate, I mean, at the moment, I don't think we have 30 donors. So that means everybody's getting some. But, it's something. So if you have $5 to spare and you think that you'd like to get in, I can't guarantee you'll get something, but at least as of the time of this recording, you're going to get something if you do. So.
And how can people donate to either you or Team Turbine? Either way they want to.
Mobro.co/Jerry Snook. Mobro.co/Jerry Snook. That's for mine. You can just click over to the team link page if you want to. The URL for that is moteam.co/team-turbine. But like I say, just go to mobro.co/Jerry Snook and you'll get a link to any of those places you want to donate to.
And I will have links to both of those in the show notes for this episode as well, so you can click over on our show notes and get there easily if you want to do it that way.
Quick bookkeeping thing. If you do donate, say at least $5, and the reason I put $5 is just so I don't get a lot of, not like I think I would, but just so that people aren't donating 10 cents or whatever.
Right. Yep. No,
yeah.
Makes sense.
But make sure you either in the message to me on that Movember page or PM me through the forums after you donate, give me a forum name so I can actually associate it with a person should you win. Because, there's a couple of people who have donated and I don't see their credit card information or anything like that. That's all handled by the Movember Foundation. So unless you specifically say, hey, this is so-and-so from the DDO forums, I have no way to get in touch with you. So if you're going to donate and you want to get on that list, either include, like say a Twitter handle or a forum name would be great. Put that into the message or PM me after you donate and say, hey, this is so-and-so. I just donated $5 to your campaign. Now, that makes it a lot easier for me to track down the winners afterwards.
All right, that is excellent, and I hope all of our listeners will go and donate because, as I said, it is a very worthwhile cause, and I'd like to see us raise as much money as we can as DDO players, and it would be awesome to get that logo shaved in your head.
Yeah, it would be a lot of fun, actually. I hope it happens, but at the very least, people have already smashed my goal for the month, so it's just a very humbling moment. I actually get PMs, and one of the reasons I do this every year is because I did it the first year and it was successful, and I heard stories from people in the game. One of our first donors to Movember this month was like, hey, my guild leader passed away a couple weeks ago from one of these cancers. This is just a way to as the guild sort of do something in that person's honor and that sort of thing. So I hear stories also. I just got a PM the other day. It's like, hey, I just survived colon cancer myself. I'm broke because I just had to pay a bunch of medical bills, but here's $25. And that kind of story, hearing from people who have actually been impacted from that in our player base, people and run with, is the reason I do it every year.
Well, and we appreciate you. And I guess I should ask exactly how does it work? Because I know a lot of people We talked about it last episode, and I know I got a couple messages. People, I guess I didn't quite explain it to where people could understand it. So can you just give a quick rundown of exactly how it works? What do you have to do as Jerry being in Movember?
Oh, good point. I suppose you should mention that.
Yeah.
I have the easy job. Basically, at the start of on November 1st, I shave off all my facial hair, and I grow only a mustache. No beard, no faking it, mustache only, and grow it through the month of November. It's basically just kind of a way to, a visual reminder. As you walk around, you'll see a bunch of people with mustaches, and they're raising money for Movember, that kind of thing. It's a little bit of a gimmick, but it's just a way to kind of, in my case, I don't look very good with a mustache. I freely admit this. But nonetheless, I do it anyway because, hey, it's not that big a deal for raising all this money for cancer research and support programs and such. So I do it, and that's what it is. And then I also, frankly, I donate to my own campaign as well. So.
And as I said, we will have the links to both Jerry's page and the Team Turbine page. If you would like to make a donation, you can find that in our show notes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
And I appreciate you taking a little time out on your weekend to talk about this. And I do have a question for you. I know a lot of our listeners have emailed me and sent me messages on Twitter asking about the new data center. Is there any update on the data center that you can give us?
At the moment, Lotro's going first, and their process has taken a while, so we're starting to butt up against the holidays, and we don't want to move the data center for DDO, say like right before the Christmas break or anything like that. So I think the current plan is to move it into the early part of 2016. I don't know whether that means first, second week of January, or maybe somewhere within a month or two after that, but that's a general time frame, as those first couple of months of the new year is what we're currently targeting to move all the DDO data centers, or all the DDO servers over to the new data center.
And how about update 29 on the Mania? We've been getting a lot of questions about that, too.
Well, let's see. Today is the 15th. I believe the one possible date would be the 19th, so that would be potentially this Thursday is what we're targeting. It depends on how Tuesday night's build goes, because what we're going to do is come back on the 16th. Basically, all the devs are just going to cram their you-know-what's off, trying to check in various things for the build. And then the Tuesday night build will go overnight. So we'll get into the office on Wednesday. The QA team will check out the build. If the build works out well and we get it staged well and all that sort of thing, then we're going to launch on Thursday. As with always, these kind of things tend to be, they're out when they're out. Sometimes, especially when you're in a fairly early stage of developing the update, it's not uncommon for maybe something to get checked in that screws things up. That means it's a whole new day that you have to do the build, right? Because you do the build once a day, basically. And so they could be sometime, I'd say, between Thursday and next Wednesday, but potentially as soon as this upcoming Thursday, the 19th.
All right, excellent. We will look forward to that, and we will talk to you later. Thanks for joining us today.
Yep, thank you.